Hello Libra, welcome to my channel. It is an absolute blessing and such a pleasure to be here with you. So thank you for being here with me for your September 2023 Tarotscope. In the description box below, you will find links to all sorts of goodies. You will also find a timestamp if you would like to jump to the start of your reading. Please do keep in mind that this is a collective reading, not a personal reading. So take only what resonates with you and leave the rest. I am encouraging for everyone to check out their sun, moon, and rising tarotscopes. September is a universal 7 month, and that is often thought of as the spiritual seeker or wise sage on the quest for deep inner knowledge. We're being asked to slow down, dive deep into ourselves, and reflect on our soul's desires and our purpose, and to seek divine wisdom in solitude and stillness, and then allowing that to move us as we, carry on in our journeys. That being said, this is why I'm encouraging that, because sometimes it can be difficult to navigate that inner journey, and having those insights may be helpful. That being said, we are going to be looking into all of these things for this month's Tarotscope. So let's dive in, Libra, and see what's going on for you. Before we get into the cards, though, I do want to share with you that as I was preparing for your reading, I did have the NF song, The Search, come into my field. So the lyrics that I heard were, I'm searching for the map to hope. You seen it? Question mark, right? And I feel like this comes from, it was actually kind of a confirmation for me, because I kept seeing the star card in the upright and in the reverse over and over and over and over again as I was shuffling the tarot. The star card is connected with hope and inspiration and faith, and seeing it so many times in the upright and in the reverse, I was, questioning, is this something that I need to be made aware of as I'm coming into this reading? And then having those lyrics drop into my field was like, yes, ma'am. Right? So I feel like for some of you, you may resonate with having these bouts of faith and the no faith, hope, no hope, type of energy, being inspired and then feeling completely uninspired. And it's interesting because I'm actually being reminded of I've seen this floating around Facebook where it's like, how can I explain that I'm this but not this? And it's basically the same thing simultaneously, though I'm sure there are those that can understand. So it's like having faith but not having faith, having hope but not having hope, being inspired but not being inspired. And I feel like you may have been going through this, or perhaps will experience this through the month of September. Of course, as with everything that I say, take it as it resonates, right? Leave it if it doesn't. But for some of you, you may have been experiencing this kind of up and down, up and down, up and down. Okay. Let's dive in though and see what the cards have to say for you for this month. Please, Father, Mother, Life, Universe, Spirits, Guides, Angels, our cosmic team, our ancestors, our higher selves, tell us please about the overall energy of September 2023 for Libra. Okay. I'm actually being called to take all of these, so I will. Tell us, please, what might Libra hear if they slow down and listen to their soul and God's callings? Okay, thank you. Tell us, please, how could integrating what Libra learns help to bring clarity, stability, and or structure to their path, purpose, and life? Sorry if that was really loud, that just hit my cup. Thank you. Tell us, please, what wisdom do Libra's angels, guides, ancestors, spirit, source, universe, or God most want to share with them as they move forward? What wisdom do Libra... Okay, thank you. I am going to ask for your patience and understanding shuffling these cards, Libra, or getting these cards out for you. They are circular, as you can see, and it is not a shape that I am accustomed to as of yet. So I really do appreciate your grace. Tell us more, please, about the overall energy of September for Libra. Okay, thank you. Tell us more, please. What might Libra hear if they slow down? Which ones, please? I'm getting these here and this one. Okay. And that one, apparently. Tell us more, please. How could integrating what Libra learns help to bring clarity, stability, and or structure to their path, purpose? Okay, thank you. Tell us more, please, about the wisdom. Oh. Okay, I'm getting all of those. All right. Anything we may have missed or need to know about the overall energy of September 2023 for Libra, please? All right, thank you. Anything we need to know or may have missed about what Libra might hear if they slow down and listen to their soul and God's callings? Ooh, okay, thank you. Anything we may... Okay, thank you. Anything we may have missed or need to know about the wisdom? Okay, yep, thank you. And last bit of wisdom for Libra. What did their angels, guides, ancestors, spirit source, universe, God most want to share with Libra as they move forward, please? Oh, that's a lot. We're going to have to try that again. Nice, clear message, please. Anything else that Libra's angels, guides? Thank you. Beautiful. Okay. Let's dive in, Libra. So the overall energy showing up for you. We have the Great Gathering. It's all coming together, intuitive hits, and soul tribe. Okay. I feel for you, Libra, this could be a word of encouragement, because here's the thing. With those feelings of like hope but no hope, faith but no faith, it feels as though this is all happening to bring things together. And I do feel like part of this, again, is going internally, learning how to trust your intuition, learning how to allow that to lead you. Because, how do I say this? I feel like it's meant to be bringing this balance into your experience, right? This has been a reoccurring theme with many of the signs that I've done already this month. And I feel for you, the balance is in this area of trusting your intuition, right? Because I feel like that distrust of self may be why you're having these bouts of like faith but no faith, hope but no hope, inspiration but no inspiration. Because I feel like there's this kind of tug of war going on where there are certain things where you feel really confident about and things that you don't. And for some reason, I feel like this is tied to your intuition. Maybe you feel very confident about like the physical world things where you can see something tangible or you get like immediate results or something like that. And then with the more spiritual aspects, maybe you're struggling. Maybe you're having, that doubt coming in or that insecurity coming in with certain things because you aren't seeing like, boom, there's a result. Boom, there's a result. Boom. You know what I'm saying? For some reason, that feels relevant. But I feel like, yeah, there's this feeling of like bringing this harmony together. Like it's all coming together. This feels very deep for you, Libra. I'm not going to lie. Because again, it's that kind of coming together in self. Bringing the facets of yourself together, unifying within. And I feel like if you're able to navigate that energy and figure out what's going on, why you're struggling with that, you may find that you're not bouncing back and forth between hope, no hope, faith, no faith, insecurity, no insecurity, or excuse me, um, you know, inspiration, no inspiration, feeling secure, feeling insecure type of thing. Okay. For some of you, this may have something to do with your soul tribe, your circle, your community, your friends, your family, your people, or your person. Though I don't feel that that's going to resonate with everybody. Here's the thing. Again, that seven energy is very introspective. It's very reflective, and often it's very much about you as an individual, right? It doesn't have a whole lot to do with, all sorts of people. Again, I mean, I'm not saying that that can't be the case, because certainly there have been many readings this month where those relationships have been brought into question, or those partnerships, or those groups, or memberships, or networks, right? This has been brought up in several of the readings for this month, so it certainly can be something that is brought to our attention. But I don't don't feel like this is something you're like talking outwardly about, if that makes sense, or are diving deep into with other people. If it's about your relationships, I still feel it's very introspective, right? It's very much about that inner analysis. Okay. So, yeah. I also feel like for some, if you're experiencing conflict with those outside of yourself, I feel as though for some of you, it's showing you um, fear, first of all. But I feel like it could be bringing to your attention that internal tug of war, right? So you may be experiencing that inward and then experiencing it outwardly as well. Okay, because as within, so without, as above, so below, right? You also have don't dim to fit in. How are you dimming your light in order to fit in? I really get the sense Leo, or oh, okay, so maybe there's a Leo in your life that you are dimming yourself to fit into. I don't know where that slip came from, but it's there. So for some of you, you may be dimming your light with a Leo, which, I mean, to be quite fair in an analysis of that, um, it might be something that you're not even realizing that you're doing, right? Because a lot of times, not always, but a lot of times Leos tend to just shine that light, right? They're very, not in all cases, but certainly there are cases where that Leo energy is very bright, very outward, very unapologetic, right? And again, this is not in all cases. I will be very clear about that. But, it can happen. Certainly, especially if you are around a what I might call an unhealed Leo, or unaligned Leo, where there's a lot of ego running the show. Okay, so back to you though. I do feel like this overall energy coming in, don't dim to fit in. I feel like, first of all, this energy has been showing up a lot throughout this month's Tarotscopes. For you, I feel as though, for whatever reason, some of your that back and forth that we were talking about, that tug of war, may come from, it's almost showing up as like this fear of being too much. Okay, maybe you resonate with that. Like this fear of rejection, this fear of abandonment. Like if you're being yourself, that people won't like that. Maybe throughout your life you've been told that you're too much, or you need to calm down, you need to rein it in, um, something along those lines. But I really feel that there's something here about fear around being who you are. Okay? It feels very kind of critical of self. Yeah. And I feel, so this is very interesting. I feel like this is why that big deep dive is needed. Okay? Because it feels as though there is this very kind of surface level perspective, where if I come across this way, that this is, people may perceive me in such a way that makes them reject me or, abandon me or something. But what's fascinating about that is that I feel as though that comes from that internal turmoil, right? It's this energy of, you may be experiencing this, like, I need to dim myself, I need to, be in this box, I need to act this way or speak this way or be this way, because inwardly there's that rejection that you're experiencing with yourself, and so there's a fear of that taking place externally, right? I hope that makes sense. um because I feel very much that there's this need to bring in that unity and that harmony within, that balance within it, which may be why there's this experience of this outwardly. There seems to be, so in each of the cards that has come through for you thus far, there are lots of beings. And so I feel like there could be this like hyper focus on the external world and how you may be perceived there, whether that be with your family, your friends, your work colleagues, whatever it is. I feel as though there's this focus on that versus that inward dive, versus that inward focus. And I feel like this is what you're being called to. You have Pillar of Light. Your vibration is rising. You are the Oracle, which is very interesting because you have this don't dim to fit in, and there's this highlight here of that third eye area. Her eyes are actually covered, but this third eye is open and shining. So for some of you, I don't feel like this is for everyone, but for some of you, you may feel, and you do have intuitive hits as well, right? So you may be getting those intuitive hits. You may be getting those things coming in, but for whatever reason, I feel like there's a fear of that for some of you. How would I say? It doesn't seem logical, right? Acknowledging that, playing into it, exploring it may not feel logical to you, or it may feel foolish to you. But the truth be told, we all have access, should we allow, to that internal navigation system, into that GPS, our intuition. And so, I feel as though there is something here about this. I do feel that part of this discomfort for some of you is because your vibration is rising, and those lower vibrational frequencies that you may be holding on to are clashing with that higher vibrational frequency that's trying to come in, or that has come in. And so it feels like bringing that into balance is, again, what is important here. See, it's interesting again because you have these two cards out first that have more than one being on them, and then we come here and it's just one being, right? So I feel as though, and not only that, but pillar of light, like this being is in the light. So I feel that, again, a big part of this is about letting that light that is within you outward, letting that shine, allowing that to raise your vibration, allowing that to unify you. But again, it's acknowledging that for yourself. Okay. If you're experiencing disharmony outwardly, it's likely because there's disharmony within. But this is happening for you to rise. This is happening for you to align with your truth. Let's take a look at the other cards you have here. First out, we have Chiron. Yeah, core wounds, vulnerability, potential through pain. Yeah, that's that energy that I was picking up on, of, you know, that fear of rejection, of abandonment, those core wounds that many people suffer from, that need that healing, right? And perhaps it's not necessarily those wounds specifically for you, but certainly those core wounds could be contributing, or that fear of vulnerability could be contributing to this kind of wanting to hide things within, or wanting to kind of hold everything inward, right? I also feel like with this potential through pain here, there's a need to acknowledge the fact that much of the time pain is necessary. And you might be thinking, well, why, right? But, you know, pain is often a catalyst for growth. It is often the thing that propels us from one stage to the next, that pushes us outside of our limits. And so, you know, though it may not seem like it makes much sense, you know, there's a lot of times where that pain is necessary. And avoiding pain or fearing that can certainly stagnate you or hinder your growth. I'm noticing lots of pinks with your cards here, and my mind was brought to kind of like that heart space, or like the rose quartz, right, which is often, as far as crystals are concerned, um, about love, right? It's that energy of love. And I feel as though there's something here about healing that's taking place for you in regards to your love of yourself, more specifically. I don't know why I just got this message come in. Some of you may have been seeking love externally. And I am by no means judging anyone, regardless of your gender or anything of that nature. But you may have, in some cases, jumped from, you know, like relationship to relationship, or from person to person, because it's like trying to fill that within yourself. Okay. I feel like there's healing around love of self that's coming through. And of course, again, take only what resonates, but I'm picking that up. We do have Palace here for you, wisdom, skill, self-defense. Yeah, it's very interesting because you have Chiron with that vulnerability, and here we have Palace with self-defense. I feel like there are some of you who have had that defense up, have been unable to be truly vulnerable and truly transparent with others out of that fear of pain. What if they don't like what they hear? What if they reject me? What if, you know, that sort of thing? I feel as though, I don't know why, but for some of you, I feel like there's a need to say that you are far more wise than you give yourself credit for. Maybe you've experienced things in your life where you have, you know, experienced trauma and pain and things that have caused you to not be able, feel like you can't trust yourself. But all of those things have taught you a lot about the world, about yourself. And there's something here coming through about utilizing that wisdom, utilizing those skills. You know, the things that you've experienced in your past have taught you something. And though you may be experiencing new things, for example, or there may be, how would we say, new opportunities that are available to you. like, you know differently now. You are much wiser now. You're much more knowledgeable. You have experienced much or a lot of other things to this point. And so with that experience, you're now moving differently, or that maturity, if you will. You can move differently now in the experiences that you find yourself in comparison to your past, which could potentially be kind of your first line of defense, if you will, right? If you're listening to your intuition, if you are utilizing that wisdom that you've gained, your skills to discern, to see, and feel into what's what, you could save yourself, if that makes sense. You also have here for you Aquarius, innovative, rational, and humanitarian. I am going to read from the guidebook for you for this card. I just feel like we need a little bit more insight here. However, I don't know why, but I feel like there's a fear for some of you of being irrational. I don't know why that's coming through. Maybe someone has said that to you at some point in your experience, but there's something here coming through about that energy. I also feel for some of you, there could be this call. How would I say? Part of your purpose could be this intuitive hits. You are the oracle energy, where you utilize that in what we might call humanitarian efforts, right? So if we look at this from a very dense, earthly, physical perspective, we would look at this as like, the Peace Corps or charity, or, that sort of thing. But I feel as though if we look at this from a different perspective, utilizing things like those psychic or spiritual gifts that you may have access to could be very beneficial for those that you have the opportunity to help, or the potential to help, right? These could be things that are reformative, in a sense, that change the outlook on helping others, if that makes sense, right? I feel as though, I don't know why, but for some reason, it feels very much like you could be utilizing these gifts to be of service to humanity in a way that may not have been seen as such previously. Okay? It's really interesting. Let me dive into the book here and just gain a little bit more insight for you. Again, this is in regards to the overall energy for you this month. Just give me a moment. There we are. Okay. Funny. So you're going to laugh. I don't know why I didn't put this together until just right now. But Aquarius in the tarot is represented by the star, which is that energy I was picking up on before I even came into your reading. And so I find that to be incredibly synchronistic. Not only that, but the mantra for Aquarius is I know. Which, at least according to this book here. Which, there's a lot here about trusting yourself, right? Giving yourself some credit for the wisdom that you hold. So I find that to be fascinating. Ooh, and wait till you hear this. Okay. So it says, a conduit of mystical healing. You have intuitive hits and you are the oracle. Just saying. Aquarius is future forward, aspiring to change the world through humanitarian ideals and radical thinking. With their out-of-the-box solutions, they are able to connect the dots to effect change and progress. They are focused on the collective rather than individual pursuits and prefer to work in teams. Aquarius asks you to carry intention to carry intention into your actions. You are one star among millions, and the actions you take have a ripple effect in society. Don't be afraid to speak up and share your innovative ideas, no matter how weird they may seem. Push against the status quo, right? So again, it's very much the energy of like being uniquely yourself and sharing these things, right? That you're that are uniquely you, because it may contribute to humanity as a whole. Okay? Gosh, I can't believe this is wild. You have opposition, resistance, struggle, and polarity. Yeah. I feel like there's this desire to focus on that outward kind of space, but there's a need to acknowledge that inner self and what you feel is true within you. So it certainly does feel to me, there's that polarity between being authentically you, between acknowledging the truth of who you are and marrying that, if you will, with the outer world, with how you move externally. Because I feel as though there is some sense of resistance here. And I do feel like it's being created within. I'm just going to be honest. But I feel like it comes from this like trying to fit in when you're not supposed to. Right? I feel like that's where the struggle comes in. And I feel like there's another energy here of like resisting the path that you're meant to be taking. Okay. It's quite fascinating. You also have, the devil, right? So this is kind of what I was talking about. The devil is that representation of the ego. I always see it as the ego, always, always, always. But, it's this, first of all, there's hopelessness. The devil card can be about hopelessness. I'm just going to, throw that out there. But again, it is that kind of, how would I say, those bonds to the more materialistic physical realm or the ego, that we're meant to be freeing ourselves from. This could be why there's such a struggle here, right? Because those egoic drives, things like rejection and abandonment and jealousy. I mean, we can go on forever and ever. I'm just going to be honest. But I feel as though the overall energy here is that battle, right? That inward struggle where the ego is saying, this is all you're capable of, right? Those limitations. This is the box that you're in. 33 on the timer. And I feel like you're meant to be breaking free from that, right? You're meant to be freeing yourself from those bonds, right? Because again, it's just this energy of hedonism, addiction, materialism, enslavement to these things that limit you, that restrict you. And actually, I've just seen a butterfly flying by the window here, and I'm also getting fear. So I feel like there's this need to allow yourself to transform, to be kind of reborn, as it were, by freeing yourself from these things that have restricted you and limited you throughout your experience. Again, if you resonate with that. Okay, so what might you hear, Libra, if you slow down and listen to your soul and God's callings? Birthing a new age, yeah, birthing new creations, dreaming a new world into being. This is part of, I feel, that energy we were getting of Aquarius, right? That humanitarian, reformative kind of energy, bringing in new ways of being, innovative new ideas, being your true self in order to birth a new age, right? We need, truly, we need those inventive, reformative, innovative ideas that may seem very weird, very alien, very foreign, very I don't know, quirky, you know, um, what is the word I'm looking for? There's another, but I can't think of it right now. But we need that original. Yeah, thank you. We like it may even come off as rebellious perhaps, but we need those in order to bring a new way of being into the world. And I feel as though, this is saying, like, in order to do that, you can't dim your light. You have to be uniquely you, and you have to trust you enough to do that. Because I do feel like there are things that are circulating in your experience, creations, inspirations that are circulating that want to be birthed through you in order to, again, kind of reform and change the world one person at a time. Perhaps for some of you, maybe it's more than one, but I feel like this is something that you will hear. I feel like, yeah, you have break the chain, ancestral patterns, healing, rewriting the future. Like I said, this is moving into something completely different. I even picked up on this before we even got to the space of the reading with the devil there. And I was saying, this is about freeing yourself. And it is. Because I feel like you're meant to be freeing yourself from these limitations so that you can help to birth that new age. You can help to rewrite not just your future, but a future for humanity, or humanity's future as well. Bringing through these inspired ideas, these maybe new methods of healing. I mean, this has come up a couple of times now. So I certainly feel as though, this is very much about, should you slow down and listen, hearing, like, you have things to share. You have things that are going to be helpful and beneficial for humanity, for the world, in order for them to heal, for you to heal, to rewrite the future. Like, you're a big part of this. And, I'm not saying that this means that you're going to be, in front of millions, though that may be true. This could be, again, just kind of changing things, sharing your truth and your uniqueness in your little corner of the world, and that rippling outwardly. You have Lilith, power, activism, vengeance. Yes, stepping into your power. I feel like this is, one of the words that I had coming in when I was talking about that Aquarius energy is independence. And I feel like this is Lilith, right, is very much associated with that independence. And I feel as though, you might hear, should you slow down, this call to step into your power. For some of you, you may be called towards things like, towards a more, how would we say, like, activist type of lifestyle where you are, working very intently on changing the world. Like, you're literally, kind of dedicated to that and focused on that. But I feel like for some of you, this is about, you could also hear, taking back your power through healing, through breaking the chain, through these ancestral patterns. Some of you may have been focused on more like that vengeance, justice type of energy. And I'm not saying you're wrong. I just want to make that very clear. But I feel as though it's like your power could be redirected elsewhere that's more beneficial, that's more helpful. Okay? Because it feels as though Yeah, it's kind of the energy of like justice will have its day type of thing. Um, you know, man cannot escape what he says, does, thinks, feels. And so, you don't have to be the deliverer, if you will, right? And I feel for some of you that's about could be about breaking free from that, which may be why the ego is there as well, right? Because if you're super stuck in your ego and you are attached to those things that maybe caused you pain or wounded you in some kind of way, and you are bent on, you know, kind of repaying that, certainly that could create some struggle in your experience. You also have here 10th house Capricorn. Interesting, because the devil in the tarot is Capricorn. That's Capricorn's representation. So I find that to be incredibly fascinating. You could be dealing with a Capricorn and Aquarius, perhaps even, but with this Capricorn energy, this is career, public life, and reputation. And as I was saying, you cannot make this up. There is a lot of this energy of like focus on other people, your reputation, how other people see you, right? How other people perceive you, maybe being called weird or too much or, out there or whatever the story. But I feel like, this is coming through to say, this is about you reclaiming your power and not being so heavily focused, I feel, on that, how you are viewed publicly, or how, you know what I'm saying? I feel for some of you, this is also highlighting the fact that your career may involve these innovative ideas or inventions or inspirations that you have to help bring in a new way of being. I mean, this could be part of what you're supposed to be doing here. And for some of you, you may be hiding from them or hiding from that or afraid of that. And, it happens. We've all been there, but I feel as though if you were to get quiet, that would be something you may hear like, hey, part of what you're supposed to be doing, part of your job here is to birth new creations, birth a new age, to help the world and yourself, like to heal, right? To bring your unique ideas outward and to share them. We also have here Four of Pentacles in the reverse, which is super freaking fascinating because this is that kind of strings attached power and domination type of energy, which for me oftentimes comes back to that kind of devilish energy, because the devil energy is very in the material space. And the Pentacles is often associated with the physical world or material space as well. And in the upright, this can be an energy of, how would we say, like security, maybe possessiveness and control, that sort of thing. But it more often, if you look at it from this reverse perspective, it's like this stinginess, this greediness, this possessiveness, this kind of the things that have power over you, right? So I feel as though, first of all, there's an energy here of like not keeping yourself to yourself, not keeping these things that you possess to yourself, not being, I don't want to say greedy or stingy, because I don't feel like that's the reason, but not holding them so close to yourself, and instead sharing them with other people, right? Allowing the world to be a part of you, essentially. Because I feel like there's a lot of things that you may be holding close. I want to pop some of the keywords from the guidebook into your awareness. Let's see here. Where are you? There we are. So According to the author, in the shadow seer or reverse position, the Four of Pentacles, hoarding, coveting, lack mentality, placing too much value on money, and a need to be more charitable. It says here, negative feelings around abundance will breed energy blockages big enough to hold back even the most magical of trajectories. The tighter you hold on to the things, the more you block yourself from stepping into the flow of wealth and happiness. If a scarcity mindset is haunting your actions, ask yourself if you are looking down on others based on how much money they have or don't have. Right. So I feel as though, right, there's this energy again of focusing on that, like how you're seen externally, that public life, that reputation type of thing. But again, more than anything, I feel like this is holding you close, very close to yourself, with that fear of being vulnerable, that fear of sharing your truth, sharing your wisdom, sharing your ideas, right? Being resistant to shining your light. You also have Knight of Pentacles in the reverse. So yeah, there's very much this physical world kind of aspect, or material world kind of aspect. And with the Knight of Pentacles here in the reverse, I feel like this is obsessing. For some, I feel like this could be like obsessing about, how would we say? I'm getting fear coming up as well. Yeah, obsessing over those finances, right? Very similar to this energy here. Again, you know, some of the things that you may be asked to do may not seem very logical. Okay. But that doesn't mean that you shouldn't be doing them. Okay. I feel as though with the Four of Pentacles in reverse, Knight of Pentacles in reverse, and everything that's come through thus far, there is this need to, how would I say this? Ask yourself if where you are putting your efforts is truly bringing you fulfillment. Because again, there's this obsession over the materialistic type of things like finances and money with both of these cards and with the Devil. Is that really bringing you fulfillment? Is that really bringing you happiness? Is worrying about if you're working a job that's bringing enough money over being happy? Like, you know, is that beneficial? Is that good for you? Is it helpful for your growth or your experience? So how could integrating what you learn here once you get quiet and listen help to bring clarity, stability, and or structure to your path, purpose, and life? Oh yeah, you have Unbound, releasing soul patterns, contracts, and past lives. Set you free. It'll set you free. End of story. I mean, I know that sounds very kind of, but it's short, sweet, to the point, and it's very much about what has already been coming through here. Right, I am very drawn to the fact that there's that big full moon there in the background. So I do feel like it could free yourself from illusion as well, and confusion as well. But I do feel like a big part of this is setting yourself free. Again, you have that showing up numerous times in the energy. We have break the chain, we have Unbound. This is very much about moving forward, freeing yourself from the past, from past ways of being, doing, living, thinking, you know, whether in this lifetime or others, and coming out of the darkness. You have here as well, you're already doing it. Stop overthinking, keep facing your true north. Yes, this is about you being true to yourself. And I feel like this is the clarity that you could gain, is that you being you and moving in that direction is going to lead you to exactly where you need to be. Right? Once you break free from this, you know, these old patterns, these old ways of being, when you free yourself from that and stop overthinking and just be who you are and share that with the world, I feel as though you're going to gain a lot of clarity and feel a lot more stable in your life overall, including in your purpose, on your path, those sorts of things. But certainly I feel like within yourself, you're likely to gain a lot more clarity and stability. You have the mirror, who or what is triggering you. So, diving deep and listening to these things, where you do have break the chain with ancestral patterns, healing, rewriting the future. And so I do feel that, integrating what you learn in that stillness, or as you listen and slow down, you could potentially gain a lot of clarity on what is triggering you in your experience, and perhaps learn how to navigate that, so you can, once again, like I've said, I sound like a broken record, but free yourself from the things that have been limiting you, that have been preventing you from walking your true path, from feeling fulfilled within yourself and within life overall. I do feel for some of you, I need to share that those things that are triggering you, that mirror, could potentially, you may not be ready, or let me rephrase that. Clearly you're ready because it's here, but it may be not what you expected. Okay. Hello. You have 12th house, Pisces, karma, shadow, secrets. Yeah. I mean, again, this is likely to shed some light on those darker sides. I said freeing yourself from the dark. And here we have karma, shadows, and secrets. So I feel as though, and not only that, but you have ancestral patterns, soul patterns, contracts, past lives, karma. You have core wounds. I mean, this is bringing up things that have needed attention, that maybe you have not been allowing yourself to move through, work through, to heal, to and here's the thing, you have to feel it to deal with it in order to heal it. There's no other way around. There's no other way. Okay? So I feel as though, you could gain a lot of clarity on some of these things that have been, how would we say, like plaguing you from within. Like you may have found yourself asking a lot of questions similar to, like, why is this happening to me? Why does this always happen? Why do I, why me? Right here. Okay? These patterns, these contracts, these, past life things, these karmas, shadows, secrets, like these are the things that you may gain a lot of clarity on. And like I said, when I was talking about the mirror card, some of these things that are triggering you may be surprising because they've been hiding in the shadows, or you've buried them as secrets, and maybe you thought they weren't impacting you. Okay. You also have here 10 of Swords. Yeah, this may have something to do with some form of betrayal, or some kind of, being backstabbed, if you will. Yeah, I think, again, you have vengeance, we have the devil, we have karma and shadow and secrets, this energy of healing. And I feel as though for some of you, this cycle is trying to close, where you've been carrying some of these experiences where you've been betrayed or backstabbed, or something along those lines, and you're being given an opportunity to finally put that away, to finally release that, to finally let it go, and to move forward, to stop carrying that struggle, that burden. Okay, to release yourself from like this kind of victim mentality. and to move forward from a space of power. But it's a choice. I feel like I have to be very clear about that. It is a choice. So you're being given this opportunity, but it's going to take some work. It's going to take releasing a lot of things. It's going to take getting uncomfortable and dealing with those wounds, being vulnerable, dealing with the pain, dealing with that struggle or the resistance to, the work that's necessary. But I do feel as though for you, you could certainly gain some clarity and stability, right? Because I feel like it's going to show to you where you are holding on to things that are not serving you, are not beneficial for you, and have been running loops in your experience where you've just been replaying this betrayal, this backstabbing. And, I feel like this is a time for you to walk away from that, to free yourself from it, like once and for all type of energy. You have the moon here as well in the reverse. So with the Ten of Swords here and the moon showing up, I do feel like there, again, I brought up the moon already. We talked about karma and shadow and secrets. And here's the thing. That moon energy is fear, illusion, confusion, especially in the reverse. It's doubt, fear of the possibilities. And so, I do feel for some of you, there's this fear of like, what if I, as some of you, I feel like there's the fear of dealing with these karmas, dealing with these shadows, dealing with these secrets, dealing with these things that have been hidden. How do I say this? There's this energy of like, if I open that box, I'll never get it shut again. And I feel like there's the fear of like, I can't handle that. I can't, how am I going to win over that? Like, how am I going to, any of that? And so I feel like this could truly be a test, if you will, of how strong you actually are, how powerful it is to align with your truth, to face your truth, and to move in that, to embody that, even in the face of fear, even in the face of doubt. It seems to me like you could be gaining a lot of clarity around the things in your life that have been limiting you, that are connected to your doubts, your fears, your triggers, those karmas, shadows, and secrets, especially around acts of betrayal or, backstabbing or anything of that nature. Okay. I also feel for some of you, you may have grown comfortable in moving through these energies, right? You may have grown comfortable in this kind of way of being, and so there could be that fear of what happens if, again, like if I open this lid, what happens if I start to acknowledge these truths, like how I don't know how to move in that. So what wisdom do your angels, guides, ancestors, spirit source, universe, and God most want to share with you, Libra, moving forward? You have no. Wait, postpone, pause, say no. So I do feel like some of the wisdom here is for, I feel, I don't know why, and I don't know that I've ever gotten this energy with this card before, and it's one of the first decks that I've ever owned, so it's quite fascinating to me. But for some reason, I feel like you might tell yourself no a lot. like, no, don't do that. No, don't say that. No, don't be that. No, don't, I don't know why. You might resonate with that, some of you, but it almost is this feeling of like putting those limitations on yourself, right? However, I do feel like the bigger message here, or the overarching message here, is to slow down. To slow down, to wait. And I don't feel like this is in regards to this working on yourself. I feel that there's a lot of this energy coming through of, these fears, these doubts, this questioning, or this not trusting self. And I feel like a lot of times things come through impulsively, or like you almost can't stop it. And it feels like you could be put in situations where somebody's saying like, whatever, and you're just like, in your head you're like, nope, nope. How do I say this? So, you may, okay, let me kind of back up here. You may find that you're in positions, 1 hour, 1 minute, and 11 seconds on the clock. This is an opportunity for you. Okay, Libra? But I feel like you could find yourself in positions where you have the opportunity to be vulnerable with people. And instead of opening up and doing that and sharing your secrets and letting the cat out of the bag, as it were, you're like, nope, shut down. Nope. Like instant. And then you just leave it there. And there's something here about waiting, pausing. It's like you don't have to quick no. Listen to your intuition. Discernment is important. And saying no to certain situations and certain people is important. As a matter of fact, it's imperative. However, there's nothing wrong with holding on a minute, getting intuitive, meditating, praying, journaling, whatever it is, taking the time to ponder on things and then making a choice. And then deciding. So, for example, if somebody's like, hey, I really want to get to know you, tell me about these things that happened to you or your childhood, or I don't know, whatever it is. And it brings up a lot of fear, like it just did for me as I was talking about it for you. You don't have to just say, no, I don't really want to talk about that, and just right off the cuff, because there's that fear of vulnerability, that fear of sharing your secrets. What if somebody really knows me? Are they actually going to like me? If I tell them this now, they may run and never come back. But instead, like, well, can I think about that? Can I take some time to, figure out if I'm comfortable doing that? It's very interesting. But again, I feel like the biggest message is that wait, postpone, and pause. I feel like taking your time is important. And I'm not saying like don't get stuck in like analysis paralysis. Okay? Like you don't want to be stuck in this indecisive space, but giving yourself the opportunity to make a decision where you feel like you actually have the time to consider it. You have here cardinal, initiation, spark, and vision. Which, I mean, really kind of speaks to, I feel, that innovative kind of energy, inventive kind of energy, birthing new creations kind of energy that's been coming in throughout your reading. I do feel like there's something within you. Again, you have birthing new creations. There is something within you that wants to be shared. And I feel like the wisdom that's coming through here for you or being shared with you, or you're, is that it's there. There is that vision there within you. There is that spark there within you that wants to come out. But I feel like the way that you're going to get to that and the way that you're going to see it is by doing that inner work. By letting, getting to a point where you feel as though you can let yourself. You have quincunx, dissonance, adjustment, and discord. Yeah, again, I feel like there's a period of adjustment that's taking place, which is, it's like, it's okay to say no. Look at the similarity in color of these two cards, by the way. Right? It may be an adjustment for you to pause, to, say no even. Because for some of you, I feel like you may be saying yes to things and you don't even know why you're saying yes to them. And there, for whatever reason, I don't know who this is for, but it feels like it does not align with you. Like it doesn't, not your truth, not with what you really feel. But I feel like it's almost like the ego is just making moves. The trauma and the wounding are the ones calling all the shots. It's the puppet master. And so you're just going with these things and you're like, I don't even, maybe when everything's done, you're like, why did I do that? And it's because those things are running the show, those wounds, that trauma, that programming, your ego, right? The things working in the shadows, the fears, the doubts, like that's all running the show. And so there's this energy here of, waiting and working on yourself and working through the things and that adjustment period. Because I do feel like it's going to feel very different. I'm actually going to read more on this quincunx energy for you as well. Again, just to give a little bit more insight to this energy that's showing up for you. So let's see here. The quincunx aspect, let me hold it over there. There we go. Occurs when two planets are 150 degrees or 5 zodiac signs apart. It is also referred to as an inconjunct aspect. In this aspect, the celestial bodies have a hard time relating to one another, as they have nothing in common, creating friction and stress. To find the quincunx aspects in your chart, locate the opposite zodiac sign of a planet, and then take note of the two signs that are neighbors to that opposite sign. Although challenges may arise with this aspect, the important thing to note is that it always gives you an opportunity to better understand the parts of yourself that produce inner conflict. Lean into this aspect with compassion, right? So it's very interesting. It's very interesting to me, my dear Libras, because I feel like there could be some situations in your experience that have, like I said, or kind of was alluding to. There may be things in your experience and you're like, I don't even know why I'm doing this. Because it is not truly you. You may find yourself in relationships and experience where you have nothing in common with whoever it is you're around, and yet it's like trying to fit a freaking round peg in a square hole. Like I feel like you're trying to fit into something where you don't belong. And I feel this energy here that you are finding yourself in, could initiate this entire new way of being. But again, it's likely to be an adjustment period where you experience this conflict, especially within, and have to navigate that. You also have South Node, past lives, natural gifts, karmic challenges. Good golly, Libra. You have so many repetitive messages coming through. And here with this wisdom, it's like These things are coming up for you because you are meant to be releasing yourself from them. And you do have wisdom and skill showing up here with natural gifts, because there are things that you're meant to be bringing in. There are things that you're meant to be bringing through you into your experience now in order to help you. Like these are things to help you. But I feel as though there are these karmic challenges that you are facing, and they're calling for your attention, right? They're asking for you to deal with them, because if not, it's going to keep playing the puppet master. It's incredibly fascinating to me how repetitive this energy is. You also have here solar eclipse, creation, intention, potential. Yes. Yes. Again, you have things that you've experienced where they are to really help you to step into your potential, to step into who you're supposed to be and what you're supposed to be creating and what you're supposed to be doing. But you've got to get out of your own way. You've got to get out of your own way. So I feel as though, and take this as it resonates, of course, you know, you should make all the decisions in your life that you feel are best for you. But I feel as though if you are ready to, if you are getting ready to make any big decisions in your experience, for whatever reason, maybe this is marriage, maybe this is moving locations or changing jobs or any kind of big thing, you may want to wait. Of course, do what you feel is right for your life, but you may want to wait, because some of these decisions that maybe you've been focusing on, they could be things that are ran by or influenced by some of these woundings, your shadow, your ego, secrets. And they may be things that ultimately will not serve you, because if you heal them, you may find yourself drawn to something completely different. But I do feel like this is about letting your light out, letting your light shine, navigating these things to see your true potential. Oh, yes, you have judgment here in the reverse, which, I mean, this is an energy of lack of perspective, right? This is I actually just got the words of like clouded judgment, or making like clouded judgment calls. Because again, in the reverse, this is an energy of skewed self-image, not seeing yourself clearly, judging yourself harshly. And you have 3 major arcana out here. I mean, and we start with the devil, 15, move to the moon, 18, and now to judgment, 20. So this is meant to be a period of growth for you, right? You may be experiencing things like self-loathing, or, you know, again, this kind of lack of self-awareness or doubt. But this is what you're meant to be working through, which is why I feel that, again, if you were wanting to make some big life changes or make some big life decisions, you may want to wait. Because if you allow yourself, once you work through this and, you know, gain this different perspective, have this period of reflection and awaken to the truth, or reborn, become very transparent with yourself, you may find something completely different. You may find yourself being called to something completely different. The final message of wisdom for you, Libra, is be fearless. And there's this little being who's actually sitting on what appears to be a skull. And I can't really make out what the rest of that is. It's kind of a weird, so it's a weird picture. But it says, dearest you, sometimes it's wonderful to give, but there are times you might find yourself over giving. Now might be a good time to check in and see where you might be cutting off the flow of abundance. Let others give to you, even if you are more comfortable being generous and being the giver, the healer, the rescuer. In the art of living, we sometimes overlook an important skill: receiving gracefully and with gratitude, without diminishing yourself or trying to deny, or trying to deny vulnerability or bringing an agenda of equality to it. Receiving is hard for some people, maybe you. You do not need a this for that in your exchange with others. You are doing good in the world. Let the world give back and support you. Then you can give up the old stories that have you convinced you have to do everything alone with no help. Let your well be filled. We all love you so, so much. So, yeah, right, very much what I was talking about throughout the entirety of this reading, though it is just a beautiful summary, right? I feel like it just sums it up very beautifully and in a way that's probably far more graceful than what I've done here. But certainly there is this energy of, how would I say, right? Because it says here, you can give up the old stories that have you convinced you have to do everything alone with no help. And so there's acknowledging those stories, right? There is acknowledging the fact that you are doing good in the world and that it's okay to also be the receiver. Okay, to give back to yourself, to focus on yourself, to align with your truth, to not dim your light for the comfort of other people. Okay, so I hope that something in this reading has provided you with some insight or been of value to you in some way, shape, or form. I'm so very grateful for you and pray that this month you are able to acknowledge the truth of who you are, that you're able to address the things that may have been holding you back, causing you pain or struggle, and that you find yourself stepping into your light and expressing that, or at least working through some of the things that may have been, that you felt have limited you from doing that. Take care of your intelligent, innovative, powerful, strong soul. Peace be with you and within you. And I hope to see you on the next one. Bye.